Hello again guys, it's Dario here. A little bit of a different video today, but I want to reflect on some of the content change that I've coming through and also how it can benefit you if you're a tradesman. And not just strictly a tradesman, but ideally someone who's a tradesman who is probably thinking they want to scale their business. They might be struggling to figure out how to navigate that process of transitioning from a tradesman to a business owner. Because I know a lot of you want to be able to do that, but you just don't know how to get started, or you don't know how to build a team, you don't know how to get consistent lead generation, or you're working all hours of the day, so you don't know how to figure out how to actually implement any of the stuff that you might be seeing online. So I want to tell you a little bit of my story and how this is going to help you if you are in that position. So approximately 3 years ago, I was working 14-hour shifts in my business, and I was on the tools, and my income was strictly limited to the amount of time I spent on the tools. So if I didn't turn up to work, I wouldn't make any money. In fact, I'd lose a lot of money because I had a premises as well and a staff member. And if I wasn't there, the work wouldn't continue because I was the only person who was able to do certain jobs. So things would grind to a halt the second that I left or didn't turn up. So I'm sure a lot of you can probably resonate with that experience or that feeling. So yeah, I was working 14-hour shifts. I was dealing with problematic customers, managing my staff members. I was struggling to get consistent work in the pipeline, so it was always feast or famine. I was going up and down all the time. I didn't know how much money I was making because I had no clue realistically on what I was doing financially because I wasn't tracking it. I wasn't taking care of my invoices, and it was all just a bit of a shit show really. But the reason it was like that is because no one ever showed me how to do it properly. You know, you don't leave school with the knowledge on how to run a business at all. You can go to business studies, but it's never actually real life applicable information. All they teach you is ratios and all these things that it's great if you're going to go join a high level business, but as a small time business owner, the real life skills, they're never taught to you. So I never knew any of this stuff. So I got to the point where I was making probably 3 or 4 grand a month at the very most. That's what I thought I was making at this point. Let me just add that in. That's what I thought I was making. I don't know if I was actually making that or not. But yeah, I was kind of thinking I was making that kind of money. And I've realised that I can't do this forever. You know, if I want to be a multi-millionaire, or if I want to really make some big money, if I want to achieve my freedom, if I want to be able to actually go on holiday and not worry about not making any money, because that was actually probably one of the top reasons I started my business, is that I just wanted to go on holiday whenever I wanted. I was sick of having to have only 30 days holiday per year. And then I thought, okay, I'll be self-employed and I can go on holiday whenever I want and it won't be an issue. And then I realised, well, if you don't do the things in order to be a business owner, that's even worse, because it's not 30 days holiday, it's like 10 days holiday, because you can't afford to take it off. So it's like, yeah, okay, it actually ended up being worse. When I got to that point, that realization, I was like, I've got to change something here. I've got to be able to actually step away from my business and it can still run without me. But the problem is I just couldn't figure out how to do that. I got to a point where I was kind of maxed out on my abilities. I knew I had the potential inside of me to be able to know what to do if someone showed me how to do it. I knew I had the potential and the willpower, but I just didn't know what was the next steps. I didn't know how to hire people correctly. I didn't know how to get enough work in the door to support somebody else's wages. And I was just working so much that I just didn't have time to think about all this, because I was just going home, I was doing all my quoting, dealing with all my customers, and I was just shattered. I was working like 14, 16-hour days every day, and I just couldn't be asked to carry on. So I just got to a point where I said I've got to find a solution to this. And that's when I found a mentor. And at this time, as a business owner, you're thinking, do I need somebody else to help me? It's kind of like a weird feeling, and I had to get past that kind of that ego in me to think I don't need anybody else's help. And once I dropped that ego, something really important changed in my life. I actually transitioned, or I begun the transition of becoming a business owner, because my mentor taught me lots of different things that were required to be able to go from being a tradesperson or being just on the tools, time limited, thinking incorrectly, not thinking like a businessman, not doing things efficiently, not taking care of my finances. And he took me from that position, and within probably 6 to 12 months, I was a completely different person. It completely changed my life because it allowed me to step away from my business for over a whole year. And that just really set the stage for me going into the position where I am right now. And it's important because it showed me that it was possible. Before, if you'd have said to me probably 2 years ago, you're going to go live in Thailand for a year and you're not going to have to work in your business whatsoever, I would have probably said that's impossible, because I thought all these problems in my head were thinking, you know, what if that goes wrong? What if they do this? What about the customers? What if the customers don't want to speak to the employees, etc., etc.? And I just realized after speaking with my mentor that all of that's just bullshit, because if you want to make it work, you will make it work. And if you have the right guidance, you can make it happen. So that was super important to me because it showed me that it's possible. And now moving forward in my life, I know that that is possible, and I'm going to continue to go along that route. I will never ever create a business again where I am absolutely instrumental to the daily operations of the business, because for me, my goals in life are to have probably 3 or 4 different businesses which I am managing remotely from anywhere in the world. I've never enjoyed being stuck in one place for too long. So, sometimes I like to be in Italy, sometimes I want to be in Thailand, sometimes I want to be in Dubai, whatever. I've never liked being in one place for too long. So being able to manage 3 or 4 businesses remotely is the perfect situation for me, whether I'm on the beach, in a ski resort, in a hotel, wherever. That's the plan. And now that I've seen that it's possible, even with a physical business like mine, I'm going to continue along that line. It just took someone to show me how to do that, to make me realize, yes, this is possible. If I do this, I can make it happen. And I'm not saying it's easy, guys. It's not easy. But if you want the good life, if you want to make good money, if you want to step away from your business one day, then you have to do the hard things that most people don't want to do. So it's up to you if you want to make those changes and if you're willing to put in the work. So at this point now, I've been able to step away from my business for over a year. I've got managers in place in my business. I've just taken on a new sales rep, and within 2 months, I'll be completely hands off from my business, which is a massive feat for a physical business. So if you're thinking, oh, well, I'm a plumber, how am I going to get people? Do you think that there's no big plumbing companies in the world? Do you think there's no big carpentry businesses in the world? Do you think there's no big joinery businesses in the world? Of course there is. There's just the people who decide to either make a change and actually do it, or the people who just get stuck in the ways and they just live working on the tools for the rest of their life. And that's your decision whether you want to make that or not. So where am I coming on to? Well, this came down to a lot of people asking me in the recent months how I was able to do this. And a lot of plumbers, a lot of tradesmen, they've realized the same skills that I have, and they think, how can I do that? And I thought, well, how can I teach people to do exactly what I did in my business? And I thought, well, there's 3 main things that people want to know. It's lead generation, how to maintain consistent lead generation and jobs that actually pay you what you're worth, not doing jobs that aren't worth any money, actually getting a grasp on the profitability in certain jobs, how to cut the jobs that don't make you any money as well. Second one is how to reduce the amount of time you spend on your admin and your business in general, because that's a massive one. There's no point being a slave to your business if you're remote and you're still working 10 hours a day doing all the admin, chatting away, You have to automate a lot of your business. So a lot of the things I did in my business was automations. So that's another one. And then there's also the building a team, because if you want to eventually step away from your business, then you need to build a team, okay? There's no other way around it. Simple as that. So how do you navigate the process of hiring someone? How do you set the standards for your employees to adhere to whilst you're gone? And how do you eventually put management in place so that you can just juggle the strings, do what's necessary for the business to go forward, so that you can take a step back and actually grow the business? Okay, because there's a different set of skills from fitting a vanity unit or doing some joinery or fitting roofs like in my business. That's one skill. The other skill is growing the business, understanding which levers you need to push in order for the business to go forward. Okay, so that is where my skills lie. That's something I've always been good at. I learned the necessary manual labor because there was no other way around it at the start. I had to know what to do because I needed to know if the job had been done properly when I eventually taught my employees how to do it, but also to be able to do it at the start because I couldn't afford anybody else to do it for me. My personal skills are in business development. So if you're in a position where you're tired of trying to scale everything on your own, if you're tired of your income being directly linked to the amount of time that you spend on the tools, maybe you can't find enough work or good work, maybe you're just getting flooded with crap jobs and you don't know how to charge properly for your time, you don't know how to scale a team, all these things I just spoke about, then we are releasing the Trades Transformation Toolkit. All right, so just before my GoPro decided to rudely interrupt me and have a meltdown and overheat, I was about to say that if you're in any of the positions that I described in this video, then we are releasing the Trades Transformation Toolkit. There's 2 ways that we're going to deliver this transformation to you, and that is through the knowledge and also through building a strong network, because I know full well how important it is to have a very strong network around you when you're going through this transition, because if you do it alone, it can be quite a lonely journey. And it's very difficult to be able to bounce ideas off anybody if you've not got them around you. So we've got the first course, which is the knowledge, which is basically the 3 modules: time reduction, lead generation, build a team. 3 key pillars to being able to transition from tradesman to business owner. And then we've also got the community, which is the school community, which is weekly live calls with myself and other business owners and successful leaders in the trade space. And we'll be having weekly live calls, like I just said, where you can ask Q&As, we can go through different topics. Now, if this is of interest to you, then you can download our free ebook, which is completely free of charge. And then you can also book a call with me if you want to get involved and then sign up to this process. We've got 3 pre-sale slots available right now. And once the 3 pre-sale slots are gone, they're gone. So then we'll go up to full price. So we've got got an offer available, so if you're interested, drop me a message and I'll get you on board as soon as possible.